Our speaker this morning is Avery Cohen. Avery is a 4-year boarding student from Nova Scotia, Canada. She is SGA co-president, a captain of the girls' varsity ice hockey and golf teams, and a member of the girls' varsity soccer team. She plays the saxophone in the Jaws Ensemble and is a head of tour. She's also the proud roommate of Maggie McHale. Avery?
Thank you, Ed. As a new third former, I remember walking into chapel, sitting in row 64, tucked in the corner, and listening to the sixth formers give their talks. I was especially struck by the introductions, long lists of leadership roles, varsity letters, and impressive accomplishments. To me, those opening lines from the chapel officiant felt like the gold standard. That was what success looked like here, what it meant to belong. Those people probably felt so fulfilled and important. I remember sitting there and silently making a promise to myself. Someday, when it's my turn to give a chapel talk, I want an introduction like that. I want to be important here. I will be one of those students. At the time, I didn't realize how much pressure I had just placed on myself. That simple thought, that my value at Hill would be measured by how much I did, became the lens through which I approached my time here. From the very start, I dove headfirst into Hill life. I joined clubs, raised my hand in class, and made varsity teams. Each new role felt like proof that I was good enough. But as time went on, everything in my life had accelerated. Each aspect of Hill became more challenging. At a place like this, where everyone is talented, driven, and capable, it feels like there is always more you could be doing. Another position to chase, another responsibility to take on, another standard to meet. I wanted to do everything, but I couldn't. So I didn't feel as if I was reaching my full potential. I felt this quiet pressure that began to weigh me down. The thought that if I'm not constantly achieving, I'm somehow falling behind. I began to define whether or not I was good enough by the things I could measure. And in times where I fell short or faced adversity, my confidence would suffer as a result. Over time, achievement stopped feeling fulfilling. Instead, it became an obligation. Each time I reached one goal, the bar only seemed to move higher. Every success felt like temporary relief, never joy. My perspective was flawed, and it damaged the way I viewed myself. I was chasing validation and approval instead of joy, and slowly it became less about loving the things I did and more about proving that I was worthy of doing them. I started moving through my days like I was checking items off a to-do list. Even the things that once brought me joy, my sports, classes, relationships, became tasks to complete, not experiences to cherish. I was exhausted, but I denied it. I never asked for help, and I pushed away people who cared, because I mistook vulnerability for weakness. In my mind, I was supposed to be the girl who has it all together. I worked so hard to earn every opportunity I had, and if I let my guard down, even for a moment to breathe, then maybe I wouldn't be good enough anymore. I entered Hill as an eager 14-year-old who wanted to do it all, and somewhere along the way, I lost my spark. I got burnt out. On the outside, I still showed up, smiled, and had it all together. But on the inside, I was running on empty. I convinced myself that even my best was never good enough. I forgot about why I started in the first place. This preseason, my soccer coach asked our team to reflect on their why. He asked, "Why do we play soccer in the first place?" The answer came to me easily. I do it for fun, because I love competing. But that question stuck with me beyond the sport. I started to consider everything I do in my life, all I do at Hill. Around 1 year ago, I read Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. He says this: when you are unclear about your why, what you do has no context. My actions at Hill have always been rooted in purpose, but I got so caught up in measuring my actions that I lost sight of my why and that purpose faded. Here, many of us tie our worth to something external: a grade on a test, a title, an award or recognition. We tell ourselves, if I can just get that one more thing, then I'll finally feel good enough. But when our whats aren't grounded in our whys, we risk being defined by approval instead of authenticity. Our identity becomes fragile, shaken by every setback, and defined by every success. For too long, I've let the measurables define who I am. So I began asking myself, what does enough even look like? For me, it is always this shifting, unreachable goal. And I've learned that for most of us, it never stops moving. It's taken me almost 4 years here to understand something that I want you to hear clearly today. Your worth is not something you have to earn. It's not something anyone can give you or take away. When I started believing this, my definition of good enough shifted. My spark reignited, and I found joy again in all I do. Fulfillment doesn't come from checking boxes. It comes from presence, from joy, from giving your best effort, not to prove that you're worthy, but because you care. What makes you a good Hill student isn't measurable. It's resilience, gratitude, your love for this community. It's all those little things in between the big moments and how you make others feel. What truly shifted my perspective was moving from a transactional mindset to a transformational one. A transactional mindset treats everything as if it's a trade. It's the, if I study, I'll get the grade. If I check the boxes, I'll be good enough. It's easy to live this way, but living transactionally means you're constantly negotiating your worth. A transformational mindset, though, is about letting experiences and connections change you from the inside out. It's running for SGA for the lessons in leadership, not the title. It's playing in the band because you love music, not because it looks impressive. Looking back, I can see where I lost sight of this. I got so focused on the transaction, on what I was getting or achieving in return, that I overlooked how transformational this experience has been. I realized Hill didn't change me because of the accolades or achievements. This place has shaped me into the best version of myself because of the people, the experiences, and the moments of growth I never could have measured. When I look back at my third form self, I think she would be proud of my accomplishments. But what she'd be proudest of is what I've learned, that my worth does not depend on them. If you are someone like me, someone who always feels this intense pressure to do more, try shifting your perspective. The things you do not define you. You don't have to do everything to be everything you want to become. Your Hill experience will become more meaningful once you stop tying your value to external things. In AP Econ, Mr. Baum often tells us that lots can be measured, but I've learned that not everything can or should be. The most important parts of our lives and identities are not quantifiable. I will never be able to measure how much this place means to me. For a long time, I lived as if there was a scoreboard for every part of me. My confidence constantly needed approval, and my happiness depended on validation. Until I realized that when your happiness depends on something you may lose, it's never truly yours. Titles, seasons, grades, they all end. But what remains are the things you cannot measure. On my desk, above my mirror, I have a blue sticky note with 3 words written on it. A reminder each time I look at myself. You are enough. To anyone here today who feels like they're constantly chasing enough, I hope you carry those words with you too. Keep chasing your goals, pushing yourself, and showing up fully, but know this. You are already enough. You are important here. Not because of what you've achieved, not because of the titles you hold, not because of the goals you've scored or the grades you've earned, but simply because of who you are and the parts of you that cannot be measured. Thank you.